We are here, National Championship Game Media Hotel. We will make a picks on today's show.
You are Locked On College Football, smothered and covered, with your host, Barrett Sallee. Your one-stop shop for everything college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome into the show. It is Friday. Credentials have been picked up, media gifts have been delivered, and it is time to make a pick for the College Football Playoff National Championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame. We will do that a little bit later in the show. We'll also talk about a fan event that you won't want to miss, actually multiple fan events that you won't want to miss. We'll talk about the Belichick nonsense as well, because it just keeps going. Hey, today's show brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. That's right, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed with your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. Okay, so we will make a pick. Let's make a pick for the College Football Playoff National Championship game. Look, I am excited. I know I'm a Southern guy, and I grew up in SEC country, but you're talking about two national powerhouses. And in case of Notre Dame, international powerhouse. That stadium about 3 blocks that way is going to be absolutely rocking. We know Notre Dame fans will travel from anywhere. And 2 years ago, when Ohio State played in the Peach Bowl national semifinal against Georgia, it was half and half. And that is a huge compliment to Ohio State, considering that Athens is just 90 miles up the road that way, actually. But take the points. You won't need them, because Notre Dame is going to win this game outright. Styles make fights. And when you get into a rock fight, Notre Dame can get you into a corner and knock you out. And that's exactly what's going to happen. We've seen this defensive line for Notre Dame absolutely dominate, especially against Georgia in the national quarterfinal. That's what they do. They get after quarterbacks. And if you're talking about Ohio State, what has been their relative weakness throughout the course of the season, especially late in the regular season? It's been the offensive line. So when you get pressure in Will Howard's face, what's going to happen? Can he rely on Jeremiah Smith outside? Generally speaking, yes. But what did we see last week against Texas? Couldn't find him. One catch. Couldn't find him. Didn't have enough time to find him. The Texas secondary made Will Howard go somewhere else. And that second progression for him doesn't work very well. It doesn't work very well. So if this game is a rock fight, which I think it will be, it favors Notre Dame. They've got the dudes outside. They've got Xavier Watts and that crew in the back end Xavier Watts, man, saw him against Indiana and saw him in person last week. Just a flat out stud. And so the game plan has been set. The blueprint has been set. And I know what you're thinking. You're going to say, okay, well, Riley Leonard versus Will Howard, who has the quarterback edge? Statistically, Will Howard. I don't think there's any doubt about that. In reality, though, it is Riley Leonard. Marcus Freeman is one of the top 5 coaches in America for one reason and one reason alone. He's humble. He knows who he is. He knows who he's not. He understands what his team is, and he understands, hey, you know what? If things start going south, then we have to change. But if something's working, stick with it. Riley Leonard off tackle against Georgia worked perfectly. Things didn't go well in the first half against Penn State. They didn't establish the run. What'd they do the second half, first drive, right down the field? Establish the run, let Riley Leonard work off play action. Bam. Faison, Jaden Greathouse, tight ends, all over the place. He understands, hey, a minor tweak here and there can go a long way. Riley Leonard's not a liability through the air. He's actually a very competent quarterback, a guy who can take a game, put a team on his shoulders, and lead it to a win. We saw that last week So I think a lot of people are underestimating what he can bring to this team, what he does bring to this team. And against I know Ohio State's defense has been lights out, especially up front. But that battle, if Notre Dame's offensive line can just earn a stalemate in the trenches, just a stalemate, that'll be more than enough. That'll be more than enough for Notre Dame to get the job done. Now, we're going to play devil's advocate because Ohio State fans, I still want you to have something excited about to when we leave this show. How do the Buckeyes win? What has to happen? One turnover, one key turnover in plus territory. That could go a long way. Not saying that's what's going to get it done completely, but one key turnover, especially at an opportune time, will be how Ohio State can lead this team to the national championship. If this game is played in the 30s, Ohio State wins 10 times out of 10. If it's in the high 20s, Ohio State, Notre Dame, I would say 50-50 shot. If it's in the low 20s or the teens, Notre Dame all day long. So get a short field, Buckeyes. Get a short field. Take advantage. Hit a shot early. That's how this game goes toward the Buckeyes. Now, we talked yesterday about Ryan Day. Talking to Ohio State fans down here at the Westin Peachtree Plaza. There are a lot of fans around here. This isn't the team hotel. That's a block over. But there are a lot of Ohio State fans here. It's a great place. They've got a revolving restaurant up top. It's phenomenal. It's that big circular building in downtown, if you've been to downtown Atlanta. There are a lot of Ohio State fans that have been here for a long time, a couple days, enjoying Atlanta. None of them that I've talked to, not a single one, has anything negative to say about Ryan Day. Not a single one. And I think that goes to show that the national narrative is way different than reality. Because reality is that, yeah, they're happy to be here. There are no moral victories. I get that. But you're happy to be here. Win or lose. And I even asked a couple of them, like, what happens if Ohio State loses by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns? Does that matter? And I think it was 4 or 5 that I asked. They said it's going to be disappointing for a week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks. But when all is said and done, they're going to look back at the season and say, okay, there was some bad, but there was some good. Overall, it was a success for what they did in the first 2 rounds in blowouts, and then also what happened last week against Texas in what was a rock fight. Ohio State got it done against Texas. Notre Dame can do what Texas did better than Texas, and that's why I'm picking the Fighting Irish to get the job done. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Bill Belichick, the story that never ends. It's college football smothered and covered, and of course, we are powered by the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends at Prize Picks, the place to get real money on sports action. With over 10 million members and billions in winnings, Prize Picks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's in the playoffs or regular season, Prize Picks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying all of the football action. Now it's playoff time, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks. Here's how it works. You simply pick more or less on at least 2 players, and if your picks hit, you could win up to 1,000x your cash. That's right, 1,000 times your money just by making a few simple picks. For me, it's all about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Will Riley Leonard go over 200 yards? Of course he will. 200 yards through the air. I'm in. Jeremiah Love, over 1.5 receiving, rushing touchdowns. I'm in. Ready to run your game this football season? Download the app and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 for just playing. Don't wait. Take the game to the next level with Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Run your game. Okay, let's talk. I hate that I have to do this, but apparently we do have to do this. Bill Belichick. Now, when we were recording yesterday's show, there was a story from the NFL side of CBS, and I'm not trying to pick on CBS. I worked there for 7 years. I love those guys. But there was a story on the NFL side from Jonathan Jones that said that Bill Belichick hasn't signed his contract, and it, even though he did say that that's somewhat normal, it was written to cause an uproar because we've all seen Bill Belichick's contract. 10 million if he leaves now, June 1st it drops to 1. So clearly when this thing was not, I'm not talking about yesterday, when the contract details were released, I think everybody scratched their head and said, that's weird. Could he be eyeing a return to the NFL? That's natural. When you look at that number, it is completely out of touch with what everybody else in college football has. Usually now it's 30 million, 28 million, 25 million. It's insane, right? So when the contract details were released, I think everybody sort of scratched their head. But then the story comes out yesterday that he hasn't signed his contract and all hell breaks loose. I mean, it's like aggregation central. Oh my God, he's going to leave. This is proof that he's going to leave. He never was into North Carolina. He never wanted to stay there. He always wants to be an NFL coach. Okay, maybe some of that is true. I don't know Bill Belichick. I've met him one time here when they played in the Super Bowl versus the Rams. He was all right. He's kind of exactly like you see on TV. So I don't know what his mindset is. But I do know that if you're using this story about him not signing his contract as proof that he wants to leave, you're an idiot. You have no idea how these things operate. Let me tell you about some coaches who went multiple months or years without a contract. Kirby Smart went 6 months. Dabo Swinney, I think, went 8 months. Fun fact, Willie Taggart at Florida State, when he was there, didn't sign a contract at all. Not one contract. The memorandum of understanding is what he worked with for his entire career. You cannot do all of this when you get a contract offer in college football and you like it, you take it. Then your agent works out the details in what is normally a 55, 60-page document. Memorandum of understanding, that goes first, then the contract details. Then you agree on the contract details, and then you have to wait for a board of trustees meeting for them to approve said contract details. It's exactly why when you see these contracts released, when you see these press releases, it only says we've agreed to a contract. And then 4 months later, there's another story about it being approved by the board of trustees. I'm not trying to criticize people at CBS. I'm not going to talk about what is something that happens every year. But when there's a big name coach that hasn't signed a contract, whether it's CBS or ESPN, it is SEO gold. It is click on website gold. I'm not going to say clickbait because it is interesting. Because clickbait is you won't believe what Bill Belichick hasn't signed. But stories like that draw clicks. When you write a tweet that says, hey, Bill Belichick hasn't signed his contract, and you put a link below it, everybody's going to retweet it. But in reality, it is a giant nothing burger. And look, I've been doing this for 24 years in the world of college football. 24 years. So I've known a lot of people. I've met a lot of people. I am friends with a lot of these people. It is really sad to me and disappointing to me that so many of my friends, my old colleagues, aggregate this like it's some sort of big deal. It's not. It's not. This is how things go in this world of college football. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will talk about some fun things going on downtown for the national championship game. It's college football smothered and covered. And of course, we are powered by the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's show brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's right, your first $5 bet gets you 200 in bonus bets guaranteed, whether you win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need to place live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more right there at your fingertips. Monday afternoon, Monday night, if you get a hunch late, like right before the game starts, or during the game, FanDuel's there for you. NFL playoffs this weekend. You want to get in on the action? $5 bet, you get 200, and then you can use it for the rest of the postseason, the NFL, or Monday in the national championship game. Just visit fanduel.com, join today, and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's fanduel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, there's a lot going on down here. I'm not saying this because I'm an Atlanta native. But I love what people do down here. If if you're coming to this game, I strongly suggest that you go to FanFest at the World Congress Center. It is, we get a lot of these things. The SEC has its conference championship game, and here you have SEC FanFest, and they do a great job. I'm not knocking the SEC; they do a great job. But these FanFests are different for the college football playoff national championship. You get to see the trophies, you get legends and former players and ex-coaches with roundtable discussions to hear inside information about what they experienced during this game, during their careers, shops all over the place, fan interaction, field goals, all that stuff. The field goal thing that happens with Pat McAfee, well, that is going to happen at the Congress Center, at FanFest. So if you think you're going to get picked to do that, go practice, go see what's going on. But it's not just FanFest. It is Playoff Playlist Live. That is 2 nights, Saturday night and Sunday night at State Farm Arena where the Atlanta Hawks play. Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz, bunch of other acts on Saturday. And then Sunday, Camilla Cabella. I don't know who that is. Knox. I don't know who that is. Apparently he's a social media influencer. But my kids, when I told them, hey, you know what? This credential that I have can get all 4 of us in to the concerts. I mean, eyes, boom. My daughter's birthday is Monday. I'm not going to get there to have dinner with her on Monday night, obviously. But I told her we could go to the concert, and she was like, Dad, I don't care that you're not going to be there. Let's just go. Let's go. So there are plenty of events if you're coming to this game. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about the 680, the fan tailgate right across from CNN Center. My good friends over there have a bunch going on. Now, I have basically all my friends there. If you heard Braves Clubhouse Report this week, I was hosting that. So check out that tailgate as well. They have a huge parking lot set up right next to the Tabernacle, right across the street from Centennial Olympic Park. So check that out as well. That will do it for today's edition of College Football Smothered and Covered, live from the Westin Peachtree Plaza here in downtown Atlanta, the Media Hotel. The Media Lounge is not open yet. If you look over here, the door is still closed. That's disappointing, but I'm going to go in and edit this a little bit and get it out in audio form once it opens. Have a few drinks too. But thank you for making this your first listen every single day. For your second listen, go check out Spencer McLaughlin. Locked On College Football does a great job over there. Locked On Buckeyes, they do a great job getting you ready from the Buckeyes point of view. Chicago, Notre Dame, they do a great job getting you fighting Irish info as well. And of course, there are the conference channels to keep you entertained. Media Day tomorrow. Going to have plenty of content from the College Football Hall of Fame. Until then, have a great Friday, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.